Union Budget 2026. Taxpayers, investors, consumers, who gains, who hurts? As with every union budget, this year's exercise delivers a mix of benefits and drawbacks across different segments of the economy. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, on Sunday, presented a budget designed to strike a balance between growth, stability, and structural reform. While the budget introduces several compliance-friendly measures and targeted tax adjustments, it simultaneously tightens provisions in select areas to bolster government revenues. For taxpayers, the government has prioritized procedural simplification over broad-based tax rate cuts. Measures such as extending the window for revising income tax returns, rationalizing penalty provisions, and decriminalizing certain offenses are aimed at easing compliance burdens and strengthening trust between taxpayers and the tax administration. At the same time, some long-standing concessions, such as the ability to accumulate minimum alternate tax (MAT) credit, are being scaled back, signaling a gradual shift towards greater adoption of the new tax regime. Investors, particularly foreign ones, are offered a clearer and more liberal operating framework, marked by higher investment limits and simplified tax provisions. At the same time, increased transaction taxes on derivatives and stricter rules governing deductions introduce additional costs, ensuring that market participants experience a mix of reassurance and restraint. Consumers stand to benefit from duty reductions on several life-saving drugs and essential medical items. However, the lack of relief on certain everyday products and digital goods may temper expectations. For businesses, the budget provides support through simplified customs procedures and extended incentives for export-oriented sectors, even as some existing duty exemptions begin to be gradually withdrawn. By mid-2016, the familiar aroma of freshly baked Parle-G biscuits no longer wafted through the streets of Vile Parle, marking the end of an era for the neighborhood. Now, the iconic Parle Products factory itself is set to fade into history, bringing the story of a landmark industrial site to a definitive close. Parle Products plans to redevelop its oldest manufacturing facility in Vile Parle East, widely regarded as the birthplace of India's most recognizable biscuit, by transforming the historic site into a modern commercial complex. On January 7, the State Environment Impact Assessment Authority (SEIA), functioning under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change (MoEFCC), granted partial environmental clearance to the project. This approval permits the demolition of 21 aging structures located on the site. A copy of the clearance document has been reviewed by Hindustan Times. Parle Products first submitted its redevelopment proposal to the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai (MCGM) in mid-2025, following which it applied for the required environmental approvals. The site spans 5.44 hectares, 13.45 acres, equivalent to 54,438.80 square meters, and is situated on a prime land parcel in Vile Parle East. The redevelopment plan proposes a total built-up area of 190,360.52 square meters. Of this, 121,698.09 square meters will be developed under the Permissible Flow Space Index (FSI), while 68,662.43 square meters will comprise non-FSI construction. The total project cost is estimated at 3,961.39 crore rupees. The redevelopment plans propose the construction of 4 buildings, along with 2 standalone parking towers of 3 and 6 floors respectively. In October 2025, the Airports Authority of India (I) issued a No Objection Certificate (NOC) for the project, stipulating height restrictions due to the site's proximity to the airport and its location within the air funnel zone. Under these conditions, the maximum permissible height was capped at 30.40 meters for one building and 28.81. However, the environmental clearance documents reveal that the company has sought approval for a height of 30.70 meters for one of the buildings, exceeding the IE prescribed limit by 0.30 meters. Each of the 4 proposed buildings will include 2 basement levels. The A wing of the first 3 buildings is planned to rise to 6 floors. In Building 1, the B wing is designed as a mixed-use structure. The first, 7th, and 8th floors are earmarked for commercial use, including shops and offices, while floors 2 through 6 are designated for parking. The proposed commercial complex is expected to house a mix of retail outlets, restaurants, and food courts. During deliberations by the State Environment Impact Assessment Authority (SEIA), officials recorded the presence of 508 trees on the premises. Of these, 311 are slated to be retained, 129 are proposed to be felled, and 68 to be transplanted. To offset the loss, the company has proposed a Miyawaki plantation involving the planting of 1,203 new trees. Following completion of construction, the total tree count on the site is projected to increase to 2,230. It remains unclear whether Parle Products intends to occupy the redeveloped commercial space entirely for its own use, or lease it out, either in part or in full. Hindustan Times reached out to the company for comment, but did not receive a response. The Vile Parle factory permanently ceased biscuit production in mid-2016 after operating for 87 years. Although the premises continued to accommodate company staff. Established in 1929 by the Chauhan family-promoted firm, the factory was closely linked to the origins of Parle-G, named after Vile Parle, with the G denoting glucose. At the time of closure, the company cited declining productivity as the primary reason for shutting down operations.